Welcome to Mystic Realms Recap. Links are in the description below. Please show some love of the author and me. On to the show. Physique, or defense, is the specialty of the zombie family. A zombie of the elite rank, even if it stood there still, it would take sumo to kill it, let alone this fierce zombie that was about to enter the rank of warrior. He can be sure. The knife with all his strength may not be able to hurt this fierce zombie, but it can definitely wake it up from its slumber. I want to kill it, but I don't want to wake it up. Sumo thought of a way. Erosion, the enslavement function of talent. Zombies cannot be enslaved by him. All the zombies eroded by his talent are all head exploded, which is equivalent to being killed by him. In a head-on confrontation, he will be instantly killed. Waiting for an opportunity to attack, it is also difficult to kill. The only way he can think of is to use the enslavement function of the erosion talent to explode the head of this fierce zombie. He succeeded, and he reaps great rewards. If it fails, he could only let Brother Skeleton stop the enemy, and he took the opportunity to escape. The gray-white bone palm covered the forehead of the fierce zombie, and Sumo activated his erosion talent. Slavery begins. When the unknown energy poured into the fierce zombie from his body, Sumo stared at the zombie, watching its every move, ready to retreat at any time. Fortunately, it seems that because the black crystal ball is still instilling the breath of death into the body of the fierce zombie, the zombie just moved slightly and continued to sleep. Slavery continued. Perhaps because of the extraordinarily long enslavement, Sumo felt the complete process of enslavement for the first time. Unknown energy outflow. He can even control the direction of this energy erosion. Nature. Sumo chose the limbs and let this energy preferentially erode the limbs of the fierce zombie, preventing him from waking up in the middle and killing himself with a single blow. Time flies. Slowly, when the limbs of the fierce zombie were all eroded, the unknown energy began to erode its torso. The last is the head. When the unknown energy eroded the limbs, the fierce zombie did not notice it. When the unknown energy eroded the torso, the fierce zombie only moved slightly. When the torso was completely eroded, the unknown energy began to spread towards the head. Suddenly, fierce zombies opened their eyes. Roar. With the burst of terror, a roar full of oppression erupted from the mouth of this fierce zombie. It's struggling. Struggle seems to want to drive out the unknown energy that erodes its body. Only, the unknown energy has completely eroded the limbs and body of the fierce zombie. In this war of slavery and against slavery, the fierce zombie is undoubtedly at a disadvantage. Roar. Realizing the fate he was about to face, the fierce zombie roared again. But this time, it was not venting its anger. With this roar, the 4 elite zombies who were already extremely weak, but still providing it with a breath of death, woke up. They are freed from bondage. Struggling to rush this way. The 4 elite zombies woke up, and the advanced skeletons who had surrounded them for a long time also started to attack the 4 elite zombies under the order of Sumo. Not to kill them, but to trap them so they don't interfere with Sumo's enslavement. If it is in a normal state, these 4 elite zombies naturally cannot be stopped by the remaining advanced skeletons. However, being continuously drawn by the Dark Altar, these 4 elite zombies are about to fall to the advanced level. This makes them not much stronger than the advanced skeletons in other aspects, except for their proud defense. After charging again and again, it is difficult to break out of the encirclement of the skeletons. Elite zombies are in a hurry. Roar. With a low roar, an elite zombie gave up the charge and ignored the many advanced skeletons that were attacking it, and a mouthful of dark green venom spewed out of its mouth towards Sumo. Corrosive venom. The second skill that elite zombies have. No need for Sumo's command. When the venom hit, a skeleton warrior rushed out from Sumo's side to meet the dark green venom. The skeleton sword was cut out, splitting the venom in 2. The venom, which was divided into 2 groups, was castrated unabated, and it was directly attached to the skeleton warrior. Accompanied by the rising white smoke, in a very short period of time, the bones of the skeleton warrior were corroded by the venom and broke apart. A mouthful of corrosive venom abolished a skeleton warrior brother of Sumu. The spitting of the first elite zombie is just the beginning. Following this zombie, the remaining 3 elite zombies also began to spit venom, in an attempt to rescue the fierce zombies in this way. Not just elite zombies, Sumu is in a hurry too. At this speed, even if he successfully exploded the heads of the fierce zombies, the skeleton brothers he had collected with great effort would all be damaged in the corrosive venom of the elite zombies. Heart ruthless. Let the skeleton brother continue to protect himself, while Sumu himself concentrates all his energy, controls the unknown energy, and erodes the head of the fierce zombie in one go. 10 seconds. 20 seconds. 50 seconds. 1 minute. After a full minute and a half, he finally controlled the unknown energy and rushed into the head of the fierce zombie, and began to spread towards its brain. That is at this time, boom. As if some taboo was touched, the head of the fierce zombie burst open. Slavery failed. You killed zombie. You have gained 5,000 experience points. You have obtained the transfer information of Elite Occupation Template Zombie. Don't bother to look at the information refreshed on the property panel. At the moment when the head of the fierce zombie exploded, Sumu carried the transformed skeleton sword and rushed towards the remaining 4 elite zombies. Laugh. With the sharp sound of the sharp edge tearing through the air, Sumu's skeleton knife slashed down heavily, beheading the last elite zombie and killing it. After all, they are extremely weak. These 4 elite zombies can block the continuous attacks of the advanced skeletons, but they can't block the sharp edge of the bones. The battle is over. The result was horrific. During the more than 2 minutes of slavery, one-fingered head, the 4 elite zombies spewed venom several times in a row, causing Sumu's skeleton brother to suffer heavy losses. Only 8 were left in good condition. The remaining skeleton brothers were either damaged in the previous battle, or in the venom spitting, they were corroded and melted, turning into charred bones. Fortunately, he won. The battle is over. Next is harvest time. Picking up the head of the elite skeleton swordsman and placing it on the body of a skeleton warrior whose head was melted by corrosive venom, Sumu walked to the front of the first elite zombie. Bend down. Activate talent. When the familiar heat flowed into his body from the wreckage of this elite zombie, Sumu's attribute panel also refreshed several pieces of information in a timely manner. You have absorbed the essence of the corpse, and your body has become stronger. Your strength increased by 3. Your physique has increased by 8 points. Your spirit increased by 1 point. The remains of an elite zombie allowed Sumu to absorb 12 attributes, roughly equal to the number of attributes he gained by leveling up 1 level. Considering that this so-called elite zombie is about to be hollowed out by the Dark Altar and weakened to the point of falling to the elite level, these attribute points are not only a lot, but exceeded Sumu's expectations. Do the same thing. The other 3 elite zombies were also eroded and absorbed, and Sumu's 4-dimensional attribute increased by more than 30 points again. After doing all this, Sumu walked towards the fierce zombie that was about to break through the ranks of warriors. Even if it was headshot due to the failure of enslavement, this zombie still exudes a very fierce aura, as if it will wake up again at any time and choose someone to devour it. Looking at this huge corpse over 2 meters, Sumu's heart was a little excited. The 3 hollowed-out elite zombies can only be regarded as an addition. This fierce zombie who almost broke through to the warrior rank is his real gain in this battle. Holding back the excitement in my heart, Sumu covered his bone palm on the steel-like corpse of the fierce zombie. Erosion, talent activated. Immediately, a huge stream of heat poured out of the corpse and entered Sumu's skeletal body. If the heat flow from the corpse of the elite zombie is just a small stream, the heat flow from the corpse of this fierce zombie is the Yangtze River. Heat flow in. He clearly felt that every minute and every second, his skeleton body was growing rapidly. After a full 10 minutes, no more heat flowed out of the corpse. When the corpse of the fierce zombie collapsed and turned into a pile of black ashes, Sumu opened his attribute panel. You have absorbed the essence of the corpse, and your body has become stronger. Your strength increased by 17 points. Your agility has increased by 3. Your physique has increased by 26 points. Your spirit increased by 5 points. A total of 51 points of attribute value income. Just from the income of this attribute value, it is enough to see how powerful this zombie is about to break through. I am afraid. Its 4-dimensional attributes are no less than those of the monsters who have truly stepped into the warrior rank. Call. Breathing out a long breath in his heart, Sumu looked around the entire altar. With the death of elite zombies, there is no more zombies on the entire dark altar. The black crystal ball that was suspended above the fierce zombie was still floating above the ashes, running tirelessly, absorbing the breath of death in the dark altar and even the entire valley of the dead. Take a few steps forward. Sumu reached out and picked the crystal ball down. When the crystal ball starts, a series of information is refreshed from his attribute panel again. You have gained 1,000 experience points. You have gained 1,000 experience points. You have gained 1,000 experience points. You got. Your strength attribute has increased by 5. Your agility attribute has increased by 5. Your constitution attribute has increased by 5 points. Your mental attribute has increased by 5 points. A series, densely packed. A total of more than a dozen pieces of information were counted, and when he got this black crystal ball, he gained a total of 28,000 experience points, and the 4-dimensional attributes all increased by 5 points. It also includes the most difficult spiritual attribute for the undead to improve. Breath of Death. When Sumu got the crystal ball, the remaining breath of death in the crystal ball was instilled into his body. For the undead, the breath of death is their source, just as the breath of life is for living beings. It is precisely because the purest breath of death stored in the crystal ball has entered Sumu's body that he has achieved such a great improvement in such a short period of time. According to Sumu's estimation, originally, these purest breaths of death were supposed to help the fierce zombie to complete the final leap from the elite rank to the warrior rank, but now, all of them are cheap for him. It is the breath of death that is enough to make the fierce zombies complete the final leap, that makes Sumu obtain such a great harvest. After absorbing the breath of death in the crystal ball, Sumu began to seriously examine the crystal ball. The crystal ball is crystal clear, the size of an adult's fist. The entire sphere is extremely smooth and integrated, like a complete crystal carefully polished. Losing the breath of death, the wisps of mist that kept floating also disappeared from the crystal ball. At this time, appearing in Sumu's hand, the specific properties of this crystal ball also emerged. Name, Rogris Crystal Ball. Quality, dark gold. Category, props. Function, absorb, store, and automatically purify the energy stored in the crystal ball. The current amount of energy that can be stored, 10,000 points. Item description: in the Lost Legacy, Rogris obtained this crystal ball, and tried to use this crystal ball with the undead transformation technique, to create his own undead race, zombies. Just a glance. Sumu's heart is shaking. Without any hesitation, he grabbed the crystal ball and rushed out of the dark altar. When leaving the altar, Sumu did not forget his skeleton brothers. As soon as he thought about it, the remaining skeleton brothers followed behind him, left the dark altar together, and rushed out of the valley of the dead. All the zombies were beheaded. The crystal ball that was the core of the altar was also taken away by Sumu, and this tall dark altar was considered abandoned. Brisk all the way. When it was time to leave the canyon of the dead, Sumu ran in one direction alone, while his little skeleton brothers, led by the elite skeleton swordsman who fused the body of a skeleton warrior, moved in the direction they came from. While on his own way, remote control of the skeleton brother. After the little skeleton brothers arrived at the original battlefield, they dispersed again under the control of Sumu, constantly circling and detouring in this huge surrounding area. This process lasted more than half a day. It was not until the traces left by Sumu and the skeleton brothers were completely covered up that they could no longer be found through these traces. Sumu ordered the skeleton brothers to join him. Burial place. In a wasteland away from the Canyon of the Dead, Sumu reunited with his skeleton brother. He took out the crystal ball again. Looking at the system description on the crystal ball, Sumu's mood was extraordinarily complicated. The reason why he wasted most of the day, trying his best to cover up the traces of himself and the skeleton brothers. The reason is this crystal ball. To be exact, it's because of a name that appears in the description of the crystal ball system. Rogress. At this point in time, the game has not yet started, and naturally no one knows what this name means, but Sumu, who has 10 years of game experience in the previous life, knows that this name represents a legendary natural disaster mage. In the previous life, Sumu's birthplace was not near the bone burial ground. It has never been in contact with the burial ground. He didn't know if Rogress had appeared in the burial grounds early in the game and had contact with the players. He only knew that in the middle of the game, the name Rogress was already known by most players. Because at that time, Rogress appeared as an epic necromancer and entered the player's field of vision. As soon as it appeared, this powerful necromancer led an army of undead into the territory of the human kingdom, destroying dozens of cities. The royal city that once approached the human kingdom, and the first epic main quest that players in this world received was to fight against Rogress and the undead army under his command. In the end, the war ended in the victory of mankind. But Rogress disappeared on the eve of the end of the war. When he appeared again, he had successfully advanced from the epic rank to the legendary. After that, in several subsequent natural disaster-level disasters in the game world, there are shadows of this necromancer. And Rogress ranking on the natural disaster list, also rushed into the top 10 at one time. Above. This is Sumu's perception of the name Rogress. No wonder Sumu hurriedly left the Canyon of the Dead after seeing that name. The black crystal ball, the dark altar, the zombies in the Valley of the Dead, plus the system description on the crystal ball. These add up to one thing, that is, the zombies were originally created by Rogress, the necromancer. From the existence of the black crystal ball and the dark altar is also what Rogress wants to use this way to cultivate a zombie who has stepped into the warrior rank. No wonder, all zombies cannot be enslaved by Sumu. As an undead race created by Rogress, the zombie family originally had a slave contract with the highest authority with Rogress, the necromancer. When the two enslavement methods conflicted, the only fate for those zombies was headshots. Sumu doesn't know what strength Rogress is now. Judging from the experience of the previous life and the creation of the zombie clan, even if the current Rogress did not reach the epic rank, he was at least a mentor rank, warrior rank, or a hero rank, lord rank. It is absolutely not that Sumu at this time can fight. So, only when he saw the name and realized the whole process, he left the Canyon of the Dead with his skeleton brother as soon as possible, and covered up his traces as much as possible. The only flaw. Maybe it was the crystal ball that Sumu brought out. Yes. When leaving the Canyon of the Dead, Sumu took the crystal ball of Rogress with him. This is a dark gold piece of equipment. Has great value. This value is not only for NPCs like Rogress and future players, but for monsters like Sumu, its value is even greater. 1. The crystal ball can absorb, store and purify the breath of death. Even if you leave it alone, waiting for the crystal ball to store enough death breath to absorb it will be a lot of experience points and attribute points. This, whether it is Sumu himself or his skeleton brothers, can be used. 2. The crystal ball can not only store the breath of death, but also store the magic power. In your spare time, inject your own magic power into the crystal ball and store it, and then extract the magic power stored in it when a battle occurs. It can be said that this is equivalent to giving Sumu a steady stream of magic power. Just think about it, Sumu thought of 2 uses that he couldn't refuse. Not to mention that the crystal ball has other hidden uses waiting to be discovered by Sumu. It can be said. In Sumu's hands, this item that only has a dark gold rating is even more valuable than epic equipment and legendary equipment. Of course. If only because of its value, Sumu dared not take the risk. After all, taking this crystal ball probably means being targeted by Rogris. No one can say whether Rogris will leave any mark on this crystal ball, allowing him to track the whereabouts of the crystal ball at any time. The reason why Sumu dared to take this crystal ball is because he has absolute certainty that Rogris cannot trace himself through the crystal ball. Because erosion, talent. Erosion, the talent is very powerful. It is enough to see the power of this talent just by allowing him to cross nearly 2 large ranks in the advanced rank, and enslave a fierce zombie that is about to break through to the warrior rank. In addition, while enslaving the fierce zombie, he also discovered another use of the erosion talent. Erosion. When he uses his talent to erode the enemy's bones, he will absorb the essence of the enemy's bones to strengthen himself. When he uses his own talent to erode the enemy that cannot be resisted, he will fundamentally enslave him and become his own little brother. When he erodes pure dead things like crystal balls with his own talent. Erosion, naturally, his talent cannot make pure dead things come alive and become his younger brother, nor can he absorb dead things to strengthen himself. But it can remove all the imprints on the dead, and put its own imprint instead. In the words of the novel, it is to forcibly erase the mark on a certain piece of equipment, so that the equipment that has already recognized the master will become the master of himself and become his own. In this way, only Sumu was sure that Roglis couldn't trace himself through the crystal ball. He dared to leave the Canyon of the Dead with this dark gold equipment with confidence. A chase. Sumu's original idea was to enslave the elite skeleton swordsman who had entered a weakened state to obtain his professional template. The end result is, not only did he gain an elite skeleton swordsman younger brother, he also obtained the elite professional template of the skeleton swordsman. And he also gained a lot of experience and attribute values in the Canyon of the Dead. I even got the equipment called Rogris Crystal Ball, which can be called an artifact. This battle. Not worth it. Subsequently, after dispersing his skeleton brothers, Sumu opened his attribute panel. Name, Sumu. Race, Undead Race Skeleton. Template, Advanced Occupation Template Skull Swordsman. Level 26, 4415/60,000. Status, Health 1480, Magic 180. Attributes, Strength 94, Agility 55, Constitution 118, Spirit 18. Talent, Erosion, the only talent. Skill, / Free points, 5 points. Level up, from level 20 to level 26, Sumu's 4-dimensional attributes have grown a lot. From the original strength of 32, agility 28, constitution 35, and spirit 6 to 62 strength, 46 agility, 65 constitution, and 6.6 spirit. However, the harvest of the battle in the Canyon of the Dead alone, enough to give him hundreds of attribute points. The addition of the two gives him his current 4-dimensional attribute. Compared with the previous days, Sumu's strength attribute has nearly tripled. The agility attribute has nearly doubled. The physique attribute has increased by more than 3 times, directly breaking the 100. Even the most difficult spiritual attribute to improve has skyrocketed to as much as 18 points. Looking at his current attribute panel, Sumu was somewhat satisfied. Although the rank is still in the advanced occupation, in terms of attributes and strength, he has far surpassed the elite skeleton. Even in the face of the existence of the fierce zombie that is about to break through again, he also has the power to fight. The next step is to transfer to an elite profession, hunting for elite skeletons. The soul fire in his eyes flickered slightly. Just when Sumu was about to close the attribute panel and start the transfer of skeleton swordsman to elite skeleton swordsman, his movements suddenly stopped. This is because he found that at some point, an extra line of data appeared at the bottom of his attribute panel. Free points, 5 points. Free points. I was a little bewildered. When Sumu focused his attention on the free points that appeared at an unknown time, a small plus appeared on his attribute panel, behind the 4-dimensional attribute and the skill, cracking the sky. No seam. As long as he wants, he can add the 5 free points he has to the 4-dimensional attributes or skills at any time. This is the combination of free attribute points and skill points. A sense of enlightenment rose in Sumu's heart. He is a skeleton. Also has a monster template. For monsters, there is no concept of free attribute points and skill points. The player's 4-dimensional attribute improvement depends on the free attribute points obtained by leveling up, so players can freely choose their own way of adding points. The 4-dimensional attributes of monsters are completely dependent on the occupation template. When the player's skill level increases, it consumes skill points. The source of skill points can be brought by the level increase or by some hidden tasks. The skill level of monsters is improved. Except when the system crosses a certain rank, the system gives an improvement, and the skill level can only be improved by releasing skills again and again to obtain skill proficiency. Players can also do the same. Obviously, if the information in his head is correct, the 5 free points he obtained can be used as free attribute points to improve his 4-dimensional attributes. They can also be used as skill points to improve his skill level. Only, how did these 5 free points come from? After figuring out the function of free points, Sumu fell into deep thought again. Thinking back a little bit of everything he had done during this time, he seemed to have some guesses. 5 free points, 5 elite zombies. Could it be? These 5 free points were brought by killing those 5 elite zombies? Whether the free points came from killing elite monsters is just Sumu's guess. Verifying this guess is also very simple, he just needs to kill an elite skeleton. It's not in a hurry. What he has to think about now is how to use these 5 precious free points. 4-dimensional properties, not required. With the existence of the erosion talent, he has countless opportunities to improve his 4-dimensional attributes. Skills don't seem to be that urgent for the time being. He only has the skill of cracking the sky. Even if the level of this skill is increased, it will only make him release the cracking slash a few more times. Before he figured out the source of the free points, he didn't want to use these 5 precious free points on skills that could be improved by himself. If an idea came to mind, Sumu tentatively called out the 2 elite career templates he had acquired, and tried to add points. All of a sudden, 2 very different elite career templates shine brightly. There is a faint trend of integration. Template, Elite Skeleton Swordsman. Rank, Elite Occupation Template. Bonus, Health plus 1000, Strength *15, Agility *12, Constitution *20, Spirit *0.5. Skill, Double Speed. Acceleration, Active Skill. Consumes 1/10 of the stamina value to gain agility *1.5 movement speed in a short time. Skill duration, 5 seconds. Template, Zombie. Rank, Elite Occupation Template. Bonus, HP plus 3000, Strength *16, Agility *3, Constitution *35, Spirit *1. Skill, Corrosive Venom. Corrosive Venom, Active Skill. Bathed in the breath of death for a long time, a large amount of corrosive venom accumulates in the body of the zombie. When encountering an enemy, the zombie can spray it remotely, causing the enemy to have a Spirit *1 plus Physique *0.5 corrosive damage. Above. This is the information about the 2 elite career templates that Sumu obtained. He tentatively invested free points into the career template, and the 2 elite career templates were all shining brightly, proving that his idea was right, and the free points could indeed be used to strengthen the career template. With 1 free point investment, the 2 professional templates are just brilliant. With 2 free points invested, the 2 professional templates have a faint tendency to be broken. With 3 free points invested, the 2 professional templates are completely broken. The 2 light groups representing the professional template also began to merge at this moment. It's just that the speed of fusion is extremely slow. Is it enough? Taking a look at his remaining free points, Sumu gritted his teeth and invested the last 2 free points into the fusion of the 2 career templates. The light fades. The two elite class templates, Elite Skeleton Swordsman and Zombie, have disappeared. Instead, is a brand new career template that appeared in Sumu's mind. Template, Reloaded Skeleton Swordsman. Rank, Elite Occupation Template. Bonus, Health plus 2500, Strength *20, Agility *15, Constitution *30, Spirit *3. Skill, Tentative. From the data point of view, this elite professional template that Sumu newly acquired, Reloaded Skeleton Swordsman, is an enhanced and upgraded version of Elite Skeleton Swordsman and Zombies. This class template combines the advantages of Elite Skeleton Swordsman and Zombies, and strengthens them. Not only has the growth of life and attributes beyond the Elite Skeleton Swordsman, but also eliminated the biggest weakness of the slow speed of the zombie family, it can be said to be omnipotent. As for skills. Ding! You have obtained an exclusive Elite Professional Template Reloaded Skeleton Swordsman. You can choose one of the following skills as a built-in skill for this job template. With the system prompt sounding in his mind, several options also appeared in his field of vision. 1. Growth rate. 2. Corrosive venom. 3. Gale slash. 4. Bone armor. Needless to say, the first two skills are derived from the two professional templates of Elite Skeleton Swordsman and Zombie. The former is the skill of Elite Skeleton Swordsman to escape from the sea of skeletons, and the latter is the skill of Elite Zombies to corrupt the many younger brothers under Sumu. The last two. It is the system, or the rules of the game, which are tailored according to the Elite Professional template that Sumu has fused. Gale Slash focuses on attacking. Bone Armor focuses on defense. In terms of skill direction, it is obvious that the skill of White Bone Armor is more in line with the direction of the Reloaded Skeleton Swordsman's career transfer. No armor, what reload? But among the four-dimensional attributes of Sumu, the Constitution attribute is the highest. The Elite Professional template he newly acquired also has the highest bonuses to life and physical attributes. The combination of the two makes Sumu in the elite rank, with health and defense capabilities that are no less than that of the warrior rank. Only the meat shield in the warrior rank can surpass him in this respect. In this way, Sumu's requirements for physique and defense are greatly reduced. In addition, the professional template of Reloaded Skeleton Swordsman was obtained through the fusion of free points. Once he changed his career, it meant that he would not be able to transfer in the normal way in the future, but could only be obtained by hunting monsters in the warrior rank. Its career template, and then through the integration of free points, can continue to advance. This requires him to have enough attack power when he has enough survivability. To sum up, Blast Slash is Sumu's best choice. I choose Blast Slash. With Sumu's selection, the other three skills disappear. The skill of Blast Slash was also integrated into the job template, and became a skill that came with the elite class of Reloaded Skeleton Swordsman. You have obtained the transfer information of the Elite Profession template Reloaded Skeleton Swordsman. The transfer conditions are met. Are you changing to Reloaded Skeleton Swordsman? When the crisp system prompt sounded again, Sumu did not hesitate and chose to change jobs. Next moment, the billowing heat flowed out of the void and poured into Sumu's body. His skeleton body also began to change drastically at this moment. His bones were thicker and darker in color. His ribs continued to extend, narrowing the gaps between the bones, as if they were about to be connected together to form a layer of bone plate armor. It took more than 10 minutes for Sumu to complete this transfer. When the job transfer was completed, Sumu's height increased sharply again, from 1 meter 8 to 2 meters. His stature has also become strong and burly, and he no longer feels slender. Looking from a distance, Sumu at this time is like a warrior in heavy armor. Even if he did not choose the bone armor, the highest bonus physique attribute still gave birth to a layer of heart outside of Sumu's bones. Bone armor. Besides, that faint aura of power and death also gave Sumu the power of a high-level undead at first. Elite Profession. The next goal is to hunt down warrior skeletons and prepare materials for the warrior rank transfer. The tall body stands in the wilderness. Sumu held it in the void, and the skeleton maw blade, which had also grown a little bigger, appeared in his hand. Gently waving the skeleton maw blade, Sumu muttered to himself in his heart as he listened to the sound of shishi coming from the blade splitting the air. If you're enjoying my content, please consider donating a coffee. Or checking out my shirts on TeePublic. Active skill. Consuming half of your stamina, 3 blades of light erupt in an instant, dealing 80%, 100%, and 120% of normal attack damage to the enemy. If it is said that from skeletons to skeleton soldiers is the first jump achieved by the skeleton family, then from advanced skeletons to elite skeletons is the second jump achieved by the skeleton family. The first jump opened the consciousness of the skeletons, allowing them to have a self-concept from a state of ignorance. Under this premise, they began to hunt the same kind and upgrade to become stronger. The second jump, which opens up the wisdom of the skeleton. Yes. Elite skeletons already have wisdom. Even if this kind of wisdom is still primitive and elementary, it already has wisdom. The formation of the skeleton warriors, the charge and escape of the elite skeleton swordsman, the command and help of the fierce zombies, the venom spitting of the elite zombies after being trapped, and so on. It's all an act of wisdom. Of course. This is only the most elementary wisdom. According to Sumu's speculation, if the intelligence possessed by elite skeletons is defined as primary intelligence, then the skeletons in the warrior rank possess intermediate intelligence. The skeleton of the lord's rank. They are likely to have advanced intelligence that is no less than that of humans. In the face of such high-level undead, Sumu can't treat it with the mentality when facing the elite skeletons and the skeletons under the elite. Because once you step into the trap of the high-level undead, waiting for him may be doomed. After adapting to the power after the elite transfer, Sumu embarked on the hunting road again. His little brother needs to be replenished. Leveling up requires more experience, combining the advantages of the elite skeleton swordsman and zombie professional templates. Reloading the skeleton swordsman has brought Sumu a higher growth rate, but it also allows him to upgrade every time he needs. The experience value is 0.5 times higher than before. Besides, the existence of Rogress is like a sword of Damocles hanging from his head, making Sumu eager to become stronger. Because no one knows whether Rogress is in the burial place, even if he is not in the burial place, no one is sure whether he will suddenly return at a certain moment and look for the lost crystal ball. Compared with Rogress, the player who will arrive after 2.5 months, is not the biggest threat to Sumu. When leaving the area, Sumu placed the crystal ball in his breastbone. When placed in it, the crystal ball automatically levitated and released a thin black mist, which was linked to Sumu's bones, like a chain, firmly embedded in the center of the sternum. As if the crystal ball became Sumu's heart. In this state, the crystal ball will automatically absorb the breath of death permeating the air, and after being purified, it will pour into Sumu's skeletal body through the tiny chains of mist. In terms of data, it is to continuously provide Sumu with experience points and attribute values. Although the amount provided every day is not much, it is better in the long run. After years of accumulation, the experience and attribute values provided by the crystal ball to Sumu are also quite large. In addition, with this arrangement, Sumu can also use the magic power storage function of the crystal ball to store his magic power into the crystal ball at any time, and use it at a critical time. One day later, Sumu entered the real core of the burial ground with his only 9 skeleton brothers. But even if he has the strength to crush elite skeletons, Sumu still needs to be careful when entering this area, instead of recklessly harvesting elite skeletons and enslaving elite skeletons. Without him, under the elite rank, whether it is a basic skeleton or an advanced skeleton, they are all stragglers. Even if it is a skeleton warrior, there are only a dozen or so younger brothers who can command it, which is not a cause for concern. However, starting from the elite rank, Legion combat is the mainstream. Like the battle between the elite skeleton swordsman and the skeleton warrior that Sumu encountered when he first entered the central area of the boneyard, he was just lucky. In the core area of the bone burial ground, elite skeletons fighting alone are in the minority. Most of the skeletons that have entered the elite rank have been included. Yes. Compile. Skeleton warriors have the ability to dominate skeleton soldiers, and skeleton warriors also have the ability to dominate skeleton warriors. Nearly 70% of the skeleton warriors, and skeleton soldiers in the entire burial ground are under the command of the skeleton commander in the warrior rank. And the skeleton leader of the warrior rank is directly under the skeleton king. In short, before that, the skeletons that Sumu hunted, regardless of their rank, were all stocked leaks. In the human world, these skeletons are equivalent to bandits and bandits, beings that are regularly harvested. After that, the skeleton that Sumu wants to hunt belongs to the regular army under the command of the skeleton king. Unless Sumu is willing to spend a lot of time avoiding the patrols and harvesting of the skeleton legion, and a little bit in the wilderness to find the 30% elite skeletons and warrior skeletons alone. Otherwise, he is bound to face off against these skeleton armies, belonging to the skeleton king. But whether it was the threat brought by Rogris or the sense of urgency brought by the arrival of players more than 2 months later, it was decided that Sumu did not have so much time to waste. Hunting these skeleton legions, belonging to the skeleton king, is his best choice. Fortunately, elite skeletons have only primary intelligence. The skeletons of the warrior ranks are far less intelligent than humans. The skeleton kingdom under the command of the skeleton king still has a lot of loopholes for Sumu to drill. It was under such circumstances that Sumu appeared near a sea of skeletons with his only 9 skeleton brothers. This is a full army of skeletons. 1 elite rank skeleton warrior plus 10 advanced rank skeleton warriors made the entire core of skeletons, as many as 500. Among them, there are many skeleton mages, skeleton guards, skeleton archers, and so on that Sumu has seen. Such a skeleton army is stronger than the one Sumu has ever seen. Of course, mighty is only for normal elite skeletons. Sumu is not on this list. When appearing in front of this skeleton army, without Sumu's order to attack, the skeleton general on the opposite side brought the sea of skeletons under his command and attacked Sumu instead. Harvesting and devouring skeletons that do not belong to one's own side is the law of survival in the burial ground. For this skeleton warrior, as long as it is not a skeleton belonging to the skeleton king, it is all within the scope of its harvesting and hunting. Hundreds of skeletons seize attacked in a mighty manner. Skeleton soldiers stand in front, commanded by skeleton warriors, skeleton archers, and skeleton mages are in the back row, commanded by skeleton warlords themselves. Such a formation, when faced with other elite skeletons, is naturally unfavorable. But facing Sumu, it seems a little out of reach. The vast sea of skeletons came. When the distance between the two was only more than 100 meters, Sumu gave an order, and the 9 skeleton brothers under his command, led by the elite skeleton swordsman, rushed towards the sea of skeletons. Go! He himself took the lead, and rushed into the sea of skeletons at a faster speed than the skeleton brothers. Ring cut. Boom. Chilling light. No release skills. However, with Sumu's current strength attribute of 94, combined with the 2-meter-long skeleton sword, ordinary attacks alone cannot be resisted by these basic or advanced skeleton soldiers and skeleton warriors. When the skeleton Modeo was cut out in a circular shape, all the skeletons within the attack range of the skeleton Modeo, whether it was a skeleton soldier or a skeleton warrior, were blasted away. Turned into dry bones flying in the sky. After doing all this, after blasting a gap in the sea of skeletons, Sumu jumped, and the powerful skeleton broke out, directly spanning a distance of more than 10 meters, and attacked the skeleton warlord in the center of the sea of skeletons. A rain of arrows strikes and is ignored by Sumu. The fireball hit, but he was easily dodged. When the 9 skeleton brothers under his command just came into contact with the sea of skeletons, Sumu had already crossed the sea of skeletons and appeared in front of the skeleton warriors. The skeleton MO knife was cut out again. Under the suppression of the powerful 4-dimensional attributes, This skeleton warrior who had entered the elite rank did not even have time to resist, and his head was smashed to pieces by the skeleton sword. You killed the skull warlord. You have gained 1000 experience points. You have obtained the transfer information of the elite profession template skull warrior. Killing the skeleton warrior with the momentum of thunder, Sumu glanced at the information refreshed on the attribute panel, and his heart sank slightly. There are no free points. Could it be that his speculation was wrong? The 5 free points he got didn't come from killing elite monsters? Not in the mood to continue entangled, the first time he killed the skeleton general, the skeleton sword in his hand was cut out again, and the 2 skeleton mages and skeleton guards who were beside the skeleton general were also beheaded. Only waste, not kill. After the skeleton mage and the skeleton guard lost their combat effectiveness, he also decapitated the only dozen skeleton archers in the skeleton army, making them unable to resist. After doing all this, he began to enslave these precious advanced skeletons. The skeleton warrior will die, and the skeleton army that was originally unified into a whole has also become a mess. Some skeleton soldiers are still under the control of skeleton warriors, while others have become stragglers. When Sumu's skeleton soldiers entered the Sea of Skeletons, they instinctively seized the control of these skeleton soldiers who had lost their superiors, and suddenly the number of skeleton brothers on Sumu's side increased to nearly 100. Ignoring the war between the skeleton boys and the skeleton army, after completing the above actions, Sumu began to enslave the advanced skeletons. Maybe it's the difference in strength. The time for Sumu to enslave an advanced skeleton was greatly shortened. In just a few minutes, he enslaved all the advanced skeletons in the skeleton army, and turned the entire skeleton army into his own. The younger brother under his command. From the beginning of the war to the complete end, it took only 10 minutes in total. Except for more than 100 skeletons who died in the war, the remaining 300 skeletons were all enslaved by Sumu or his skeleton warriors and became part of Sumu's strength. After doing all this, he didn't stop at all. In the first time, he took the skeleton younger brother, who had expanded to more than 300, and rushed in the other direction. There is another skeleton army. Elite skeletons already have primary intelligence. Wisdom means memory. Even if this memory is extremely simple, it only includes the direction and route of the elite skeleton patrol, as well as the orders from the higher-level skeleton, and so on. After swallowing the first skeleton army, Sumu got the patrol routes of several other skeleton army from the memory of the skeleton general, and rushed to hunt and kill at the first time. No surprises. Sumu's current strength is not comparable to the warrior rank, but it is easy to crush the skeleton of the elite rank. 2 days. Relying on the information obtained from the memory of the skeleton warriors again and again, Sumu killed 8 elite skeleton warriors. Just devouring the skeleton army commanded by these 8 skeleton generals has caused the number of skeleton brothers under Sumu to increase sharply, directly breaking through 1,000. This is still the result of his removal of turnips and prunes. If it is unrestricted enslavement, the number of skeleton brothers under his command will be doubled at this time. By this time, Sumu stopped his long-distance rushing for a moment. Because his real enemy has arrived. One good news, one bad news. The good news is that Sumu has finally identified the source of the free points. The freedom points are indeed obtained by killing elite-level monsters. However, when Sumu is in the advanced rank, he can get 1 free point by killing an elite monster. When he is in the advanced elite rank, he can get 1 free point by killing at least 2 elite monsters. As his strength increases, the free points provided by elite monsters will gradually decrease. When he stepped into the warrior rank, perhaps only the monsters in the warrior rank can provide him with the free attribute. Of course. This is not to say that as long as he does not advance, elite monsters can always provide him with free points. His level improvement, attribute improvement, and even skill improvement all affect the income of free points. The emergence of free points. It seems to be encouraging Sumu to continue to challenge the existence of higher ranks. The 8 skeleton warriors gave him 4 free points, which is good news. The bad news is that the skeleton commander has appeared. The skeleton warriors and skeleton legions hunted by Sumu all belong to the skeleton king. When he hunted the first and second skeleton legions, the skeleton king did not respond, but when the number of skeleton legions he hunted reached 7, 8. Perhaps it was an order from the skeleton king, or perhaps it was an order from the skeleton commander. Within a radius of hundreds of kilometers, there was no single skeleton army to be found. All the skeleton army under the command of the skeleton king were gathered under the command of the skeleton commander, and under the command of the skeleton master. Find the trail of Sumu. Losing those skeleton warriors who can be easily defeated, Sumu naturally also lost the source of free points, which is of course bad news. But Sumu's original plan was to hunt down warrior rank skeletons to prepare materials for his next career change. Now the skeleton commander is taking the initiative. Should it be considered good news? In the wilderness, Sumu stopped, waiting for the attack of the skeleton commander. While waiting, he opened his properties panel. After killing 8 skeleton legions in a row, even though most of the advanced skeletons were enslaved, the experience points that Sumu gained during these 8 consecutive wars also raised his level by 2 again. At this time, his 4-dimensional attributes have reached Strength 134, Agility 85, Constitution 178, Spirit 24. Such attributes may not be comparable to the skeletons of warriors, but they are not far behind. When facing elite skeletons, he can kill them in one hit. The elite skeletons under the command of the skeleton master, Sumu, was not worried. Even without the assistance of the skeleton brothers, with his current strength, he can come and go freely. The only thing he needs to consider is how to kill the skeleton commander in the vast sea of skeletons. A little thought in my heart, Sumu focused on his only 4 free points. His 4-dimensional attributes are already very high, and if 4 free points are invested in it, I am afraid that even a splash will not float. The professional template is already an elite rank, and until a sufficient number of warrior professional templates are obtained, the free points will not be used. Skill. At this time, only by increasing the skill level, can he improve his strength again without changing the data. The 2 skills he possesses are both active skills. Air Slash is an area attack skill, suitable for cleaning mobs. Blast Slash is a single attack skill, and the 3 slashes released in an instant can deal 3 times the damage of normal attacks. Taking into account the upcoming battle, Blast Slash is naturally Sumu's first choice. Moving his gaze to the skill of Blast Slash, Sumu's heart moved, 1 free point was consumed, and the skill level of Blast Slash was also raised from the default level 1 to level 2. Blast Slash, active skill, level 2. It consumes 1/3 of the stamina value, and 4 blades of light erupt in an instant, dealing 70%, 90%, 110%, and 130% of normal attack damage to the enemy. Stamina consumption has been reduced a bit. The damage has been increased from 3 times the original damage to 4 times the current damage. Not bad. After adding points for the first time and achieving good results, Sumu immediately put the remaining 3 free points into the skill of Blast Slash. After all 4 free points have been consumed, the level of Blast Lien Slash has also reached level 5. Blast Slash, active skill, level 5. It consumes 1/6 of the stamina value, and 7 blades of light erupt in an instant, dealing 40%, 60%, 80%, 100%, 120%, and 140 normal attacks to the enemy respectively. 160% damage. Stamina consumption is greatly reduced. After reaching level 5, the total damage of the 7 light blades bursting out from the skill of Blast Slash has reached 7 times the normal damage. A great move. If before this, Sumu had doubts about whether he was the opponent of the skeleton commander, after having the 5th level Blast Slash, he would have absolute confidence to slash the skeleton of the warrior rank in under the knife. Everything. Just wait for the skeleton commander to arrive. Time passed gradually. With the clue Sumu deliberately left as a guide, just a few hours later, the enemy Sumu was waiting for arrived. The first thing that catches the eye is a pale white, 8 successive skeleton legions were crippled and swallowed up, and the skeleton commander who already possessed a certain wisdom would naturally not be careless. When it appeared in front of Sumu, it was carrying a full army of skeletons. What is the concept of a full skeleton army commanded by a skeleton leader of the warrior rank? From the appearance of the skeleton commander, the dense sea of skeletons spread from a distance toward this side, filling the entire wilderness within sight. Looking around, at least 4,000 or 5,000 skeletons of all kinds appeared in this wilderness. At the front are still the skeleton soldiers. However, compared with the skeleton army led by the skeleton generals, the skeleton warriors mixed with these skeleton soldiers are obviously several times more. Almost every 20 skeleton soldiers will have a skeleton warrior as the captain, and also as the fulcrum of the skeleton commander to command the entire skeleton army. After the skeleton soldiers, there are archers. There are not only archers with skeleton soldiers holding white bone bows, but also skeleton archers who have stepped into the advanced stage and really transferred to the profession of archers. The number of skeleton archers, in the hundreds. In the center of the entire sea of skeletons, there are still dozens of skeleton mages. Skeleton soldiers. Skeleton archer. Skeleton mage. The 3 arms are interlocked, protecting a tall skeleton wrapped in rusty armor in the middle. This skeleton is the skeleton commander. Of course. In addition to the skeleton commander and the 3 arms, there are many other skeletons in this skeleton army who have reached the elite rank. For example, the elite arm of the skeleton archer, the skeleton archer, for example, the elite arm of the skeleton mage, the terror mage, for example, the elite arm of the skeleton guard, etc. Not to mention the most numerous elite skeletons, skeleton warlords. There are so many elite skeletons in this army of 4,000 plus skeletons alone, there are as many as a dozen. On the contrary. Sumu here. Sumu himself is an elite rank heavy armored skeleton swordsman. Thanks to the bug of erosion, talent, although he is in the elite rank, he has enough strength to fight against the warrior rank. Besides, elite skeleton, only 1, advanced skeletons, less than 100. The rest are all skeleton soldiers. It is also the core of skeletons, but the gap between the two is enough to describe it as a world of difference. Among the 0.29 million troops, behead the enemy. Sumu was looking at the skeleton commander. The skeleton leader was also looking at Sumu. When the leaders of both sides did not issue an attack order, the 2 skeleton legions, which were vastly different in both quantity and quality, were also facing each other hundreds of meters apart. When Sumu observed the skeleton commander, he was calculating the roughly 4-dimensional attributes of this skeleton commander. By the way, he was looking for a breakthrough, and when the fight started, where should he break into the center of the skeleton sea and hunt for the skeleton commander? The skeleton commander is observing Sumu because its immature wisdom can't figure out why such a strange-looking elite skeleton can destroy 8 skeleton legions in such a short period of time. Being an undead also has the benefits of being an undead. Since he couldn't figure it out, the skeleton commander didn't want to. When the skeleton army under his command was only a few hundred meters away from the enemy, the machete in the hands of the skeleton commander was raised high. Next moment, cut off the machete. The ocean of skeletons that numbered more than 4,000 charged at the same time and attacked here. It has started. With a move in his heart, when the Bone Legion was attacking here, Sumu also ordered at the same time to have his skeleton brothers line up to deal with the impact of the Bone Legion. No matter in terms of quantity or quality, the skeleton army under Sumu can't compare with the skeleton army under the skeleton commander. But their job is not to win this war. They only need to withstand the impact of the Bone Legion, attract the attention of the Bone Legion for Sumu, and contain the Bone Legion. Such a task. These more than 1,000 skeletons carefully selected by Sumu are still competent. The skeleton guard is on the outermost layer, bearing the first impact of the skeleton army. Within the skeleton guard, the skeleton warriors form the second line of defense with the skeleton soldiers. At the very innermost are the skeleton mage and skeleton archer collected by Sumu. Time passed little by little. The core of skeletons is getting closer and closer. When the distance between the two was only over 100 meters, Sumu gave an order. The dozen or so skeleton guards in the outermost layer simultaneously inserted the lower end of the skeleton tower shield into the ground, and the whole body crouched down, come down and prepare for the first onslaught of the core of bones. Skeleton warriors and skeleton soldiers stand by. The skeleton archers and skeleton mages, under the command of Sumu, threw a large rain of arrows and more than a dozen ghost fireballs towards the opposite sea of skeletons across a distance of hundreds of meters. The rain of arrows and the fireballs are not aimless attacks. Under the command of Sumu, his only skeleton archers and skeleton mages were divided into 3 squads. Each squad concentrated on attacking one target. The target being attacked was the skeleton warriors and skeleton generals in the sea of skeletons. Them. Skeleton archer and skeleton mage joined forces. Almost every salvo will be able to smash a skeleton warrior into charred bones. If the 3 squads focus on the fire attack, the elite rank skeleton warriors will also be killed in a very short period of time. Crippled. So back and forth. When the ocean of skeletons spanned the distance of hundreds of meters and was about to hand over the skeleton army under Sumu, more than 10 skeleton warriors and 3 skeleton generals had fallen to the skeleton archers and skeleton mages. Hit the fire. Then. Boom. 2 skeleton legions collide together. Breakthrough. Breakthrough. At this moment, Sumu and his elite skeleton swordsman younger brother broke out at the same time. 2 brilliant light blades burst out of the sky, cut into the pale sea of skeletons, beheaded a large number of skeleton soldiers. Instantly on the battlefield a small clearing was cleared. Then. Let the elite skeleton swordsmen continue to unleash their skills to support the skeleton army under his command, but Sumu himself jumped a powerful burst of strength and speed attributes. After leaving a deep footprint on the ground, Sumu's body rose into the air, directly crossing a distance of more than 10 meters, and entered the ocean of skeletons. Ring cut. Boom. The bones are cut out with a sword. The sharp blade slashed in midair, slashing all the skeletons within a 2-meter radius. Sumu rose into the air again and rushed towards the center of the sea of skeletons. Once. Twice. 3 times. Every time he flies into the air, Sumu will cross a distance of more than 10 meters. Every time he crossed, he was 1 step closer to the skeleton commander at the center of the skeleton ocean. So back and forth. When he fell into the ocean of skeletons for the 7th time, Sumu was only a dozen meters away from the skeleton leader. It only takes 1 last crossing to reach it. Skeleton masters are not fools. Because of Sumu's rank, it did not pay much attention to Sumu. At the same time, because of its low level of intelligence, it was not born to despise this emotion. When Sumu fell for the 7th time, an invisible wave of soul emanated from the skeleton commander's body, and all the skeleton mages nearby turned around and aimed at Sumu. Dozens of skeleton mages. Among them, there are several terrifying mages who have entered the elite rank. As far as the skeleton mage is concerned, Sumu can still resist with his strong physique and defense, but the terror mage, a spellcaster of this rank, is enough to cause huge damage to him. To rush or not to rush? This thought flashed across Sumu's mind. When the strong aura of death gathered in the bone staff of the skeleton mages, and when the blue ghost fireballs began to appear, Sumu rushed to a skeleton warrior with a thunderous momentum. Cut out. The power of up to 134 points exploded, and the skeleton warrior was cut off, without the ability to resist. Subsequently, grabbing the body left by the skeleton warrior, Sumu used it as a shield to block in front of him, and rose into the air for the 8th time. At the same time, his only 2 skills, all exploded at this moment. Breakthrough. Blast slash. Boom. Intensive explosions spread in midair, and a piece of charred bones also fell at the same time, scattering on the ground. This is the body of the skeleton warrior. Using the body of the skeleton general to block the first focus attack of the skeleton mages, Sumu, who was in the air, also cut out his only two active skills. Crack the sky. Blast, slash. Two completely different light blades erupted, like fireworks exploded in the group of skeleton mages. That's right. In this eighth leap, Sumu did not pounce on the skeleton commander, who was already close at hand, but rushed into the group of skeleton mages under the cover of the skeleton warlord's body. Compared with the skeleton leaders of the warrior rank, the total number of skeleton mages reaching dozens, the threat to Sumu is even greater. The air split exploded. The dazzling blade of light raged. Under the blessing of Sumu's super high strength and agility attributes, this area attack skill, which was originally only used to clean up mobs, has shown powerful lethality. Almost at the moment when the sky crack broke out, more than half of the skeleton mages were torn apart. The remaining skeleton mages, even if they were not killed, temporarily lost their combat effectiveness. And the gust of wind slashes. The 7 blades of light that burst out in an instant can bring the enemy 7 times the super damage of normal attacks in total. Under the ravages of these 7 light blades, except for the first terrifying mage who survived due to the lack of power of the first 2 light blades, the remaining 3 terrifying mages were also torn apart. Spike. The 7 light blades that burst out from the blast can not only attack the same target, but also spread out to attack different targets. As long as these 7 attacks are not in vain, the attack bonus of Gale Slash will continue. From Sumu's 8th jump to when he fell to the ground again, it was just a short moment. But in this lightning-quick time, the skeleton mages who most threatened him in the sea of skeletons were crippled. The skeleton commander didn't even react. Laugh. Cut out. After cutting off the head of the last terrifying mage, Sumu turned around and looked at the skeleton commander. Without the threat posed by skeleton mages and horror mages, just relying on the skeleton guards and skeleton guards around the skeleton commander is no longer enough to interfere with the battle between him and the skeleton commander. Roar. Invisible soul fluctuation spread. The skeleton mages under his command were crippled, and the skeleton commander was furious. Roaring angrily, the skeleton commander gave an order, and the skeleton guards and skeleton guards around it rushed towards Sumu. It also held a bone knife and a bone shield and killed Sumu. For a high-level skeleton like the skeleton commander, who has stepped into the warrior rank, being smashed into the center of the skeleton legion by an ant who is only an elite rank, and crippling the skeleton mage core under his own power, this is undoubtedly a huge one. Shame. This shame can only be washed away with the fire of the enemy's soul. A distance of more than 10 meters is not far away. Even skeletons like skeleton guards and skeleton guards that focus on physical growth can rush through in a very short time. Only. When those skeleton guards and skeleton guards rushed over, Sumu rose into the air again, directly past the skeleton guards, and also the skeleton leader, and appeared behind it. Blast slash. Blast, continuous slash, the second shot. The crimson blade of light erupted, like a sharp blade cutting through the skeleton commander's body. When the target is a terrifying mage, their fragile physique can't withstand the slashing of the gust of wind, and they are killed in an instant, so it is difficult to see the power of this move. When the target is the skeleton commander, the power of this attacking skill, which has reached level 5, is truly displayed. Instant explosion. 7 light blades. When the 7 light blades slashed on the skeleton commander, along with a dense and harsh sound, the bone powder flew up, and huge slash marks appeared on the skeleton commander's body. The first 3 light blades were the weakest, and were blocked by the rusty armor on the skeleton commander, leaving only 3 traces of different shades on it. The 4th blade of light had already broken through the rusted armor, and it had truly slashed on the skeleton of the skeleton commander. The remaining 3 light blades cut 3 huge scars on the skeleton of the skeleton commander. The deepest one of them directly cut off the 2 ribs of the skeleton commander, and almost cut off his spine. The blast is indeed a big move, if it can be raised to level 8 or even level 10. I am afraid this blow is enough to kill the skeleton leader in seconds. Roar. Growled again. The severely injured skeleton commander turned around, and the bone knife in his hand carried an incomparable force, and slashed towards Sumu. It kind of understands how this strange elite skeleton was able to slay 8 legions of skeletons in such a short period of time. Even it can't withstand the blow of this strange skeleton, let alone those skeleton warriors under its command who only have elite ranks. Boom! A violent symphony of gold and iron erupted. The huge force surged from the bone knife, causing Sumu to take a few steps back involuntarily, leaving a series of deep footprints on the ground. The skeleton lord is stronger than him. But 4-dimensional attributes have never been the only criterion for judging combat power. When the skeleton commander attacked with the skeleton guards and skeleton guards who had turned around, the skeleton sword in Sumu's hand slashed out with all his strength. Whoa! The 3 skeleton guards were torn apart. The 2 skeleton guards were knocked into the air with great force. Sumu, who faced the skeleton commander again, did not hesitate at all, and unleashed the 3rd hurricane combo. 7 light blades burst out. Under Sumu's deliberate control, the location where the 7 light blades attacked was exactly where the skeleton commander was injured before. 7 light blades are connected in a line. Violently chopped on the body of the skeleton commander. When the power of this move ended, the skeleton commander was directly cut off. The lower body was still standing on the ground, but the upper body lost the support of the body and fell towards the ground. The skeleton lord isn't dead yet. With its upper body still intact, it even retains a lot of combat power. But now that it has been cut in half, how could Sumu let the skeleton commander recall his lower body and regain his fighting power? Just as the skeleton leader's upper body fell to the ground, Sumu stepped forward and rushed in front of the skeleton leader. When the half-body of the skeleton commander fell to the ground, the skeleton Mo-Dao that flashed with cold light had already volleyed into the sky, piercing the skull commander's eye socket and piercing his head. Soul fire flickered. Desolately extinguished. The information on the Sumu attribute panel is also refreshed. Thank you for watching Mystic Realms Recap. Please like, share and subscribe. Have a great day.